What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Godsey for the Justin Godsey Podcast. Welcome to another NFL quarterback rankings video for the 2014 NFL season. We are ranking all 32 of your NFL quarterbacks here in a video YouTube series here on my YouTube channel, exclusively here on my YouTube channel. And here we are at number 30 on my list. We're here talking about Oakland Raiders quarterback Matt Schaub. Now, a lot of people are just very, asking me, where's going to be Geno Smith? Actually, I'm going to give you guys a quick spoiler. Geno Smith is going to be number 29. So make sure you guys check that out later on tonight as we're here talking about Matt Schaub. So let's stay on subject here. Now, Matt Schaub last season, he was at age 33, his age 33 season, his 11th season in the NFL. It was with the Houston Texans. A lot of people were very, not happy with Matt Schaub's current condition. He was getting injured. The offensive line was failing on him, which led to a very disappointing 2013 season for the Houston Texans, in which they only had 2 victories that entire year, defeating the San Diego Chargers, the most notably victory of their season. And going forward, Matt Schaub's future remain, optimistic going forward for the 2014 year. That season, he had 10 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 2,310 passing yards, and a quarterback rating of 73. Not the greatest stats in the world. I think Matt Schaub really needs to make an improvement, and the Houston Texans are not going to give him another opportunity, as Gary Kubiak was fired in the middle of the season. Also, they benched Matt Schaub going forward. Wade Phillips started to take over. Bill O'Brien's now head coach in Houston. So, Matt Schaub's, chances of remaining with Houston for 2014 seem very optimistic. Now, during the 2014, or the build-up to the 2014 NFL Draft, the Oakland Athletics traded a 5th-round pick to acquire Matt Schaub, and when you really look at it, he's probably the best option going forward as a starting quarterback, before they went out and drafted Derek Carr. Now, Derek Carr was one of my favorite quarterbacks going into the draft. A lot of people were very underestimating what Carr could do. A lot of people had Carr going into the second round or falling, right at the end of the second round. But David Carr has been, been reported of, really doing his homework and is really, close to getting an actual, getting the starting job over Matt Schaub. Matt Schaub, that very lengthy veteran going into his 12th season in the National Football League out of Virginia. And a lot of people are still thinking, is Matt Schaub their long-term over the next couple of years? I don't think so. I think Matt Schaub is going to be here to pretty much mentor the much younger quarterbacks on this roster in Matt McGloin and Derek Carr, because, both of these quarterbacks are coming to the Oakland Raiders team that does not have that lengthy veteran, and it was always Terrell Pryor. It was, Matt McGloin last season, and, they're going into a team that doesn't have a veteran quarterback, so they moved on from Jason Campbell. He went on to the Cleveland Browns. They decided to land and give, Terrell Pryor an opportunity, let him start after, being a backup for a number of years. He was traded to the Seattle Seahawks. And then it's, a big cluster going into, who's going to be their starting quarterback. And then they acquired Matt Schaub in that, 5th round selection. They got in, they sent over to the Houston Texans for Schaub. So Schaub going into this year, what are my expectations? When you look at it and what they got, they have some great additions. I still wish that they would have gotten another wide receiver in the draft. They did a good job at acquiring some good defensive pieces. They got Khalil Mack. They got Justin Ellis from Louisiana Tech. They upgraded their cornerbacks. It's Keith McGill, Travis Carey out of Ohio. They've done a lot of great things, but the offensive side of the ball is where the Houston Texans need, and they really needed some more additions to the wide receiver core. I mean, I'll give them the credit that they do have guys like, James Jones, who signed, it was the first team signing of free agency. He's going to help out in a big way. Denarius Moore, Rod Streeter is going to be there. Jerron Kreiner, who I'm just waiting for him to have a breakout year. These guys are all great wide receivers that can help out Matt Schaub going forward, but there's not that big impact wide receiver on this roster. These are just, overall average wide receivers, and they really needed a really explosive wide receiver. And I think when you look into this year's draft class, maybe a guy like Dante Moncrief could come in the later rounds. There were just a handful of guys who, the Houston or who the Oakland Athletics really missed out on, and I really hope that they would have, jumped on it, add another target for him or for Matt Schaub going into the season, because he really needs the targets. He's moving on to, he's been with none other than Andre Johnson for a number of years, and now he's going to a team that does not have that, explosive wide receiver. This team really passed on a handful of wide receivers. Let me pull up the last year's draft class, and I'll let you guys know who they passed on. Sammy Watkins, Odell Beckham Jr., Mike Evans, Kelvin Benjamin, Marquise Lee, Jordan Matthews, Paul Richardson, Cody Latimer, Allen Robinson, Jarvis Landry, Josh Huff, Dante Moncrief, Jalen Edwards, Bruce Ellington. The list just keeps on going on and on. And, if they were to go in there and add a wide receiver, because you could still have a very productive wide receiver on your roster in their early selections of last year's draft. Say if you wanted to add a Dante Moncrief or a Jarvis Landry, they would have been available in the second round, probably even the third. But you know what? The defensive side of the ball was big in Oakland. They really needed added some more pieces to their defense, and that's exactly what they did. And I do respect their decisions on going after it. So maybe next year they can go into the draft and start adding some targets for what could possibly be Derek Carr's starting year. Now, when it comes to Matt Schaub going into this year, my expectations is for him to he's going to break out of this slump. I think he's going to a team. He has a new face. He's going to California. He's playing for this Oakland Raiders team that has not clinched a playoff spot in a number of years, and they really need to go back and get into a right direction. I think this is going to be a year where Matt Schaub can really improve on a lot of things. His arm strength. This offensive line is going to have the biggest test on keeping him healthy. Try not to give out too many sacks, because Matt Schaub was just completely dominated last year when it comes to getting sacked. He was sacked 21 times last year. So hopefully the Oakland Raiders offensive line with Barnes, with Nix, with Donald Penn being the new addition to the team this year, that they can really improve and protect Matt Schaub, because as of right now, he is the team's quarterback. He's going to be the team's starting quarterback. I do expect Derek Carr to get some starting time at some point this year. I think Matt Schaub is going to appear in a big handful of games, so I don't expect him to go and play the entire year. But you know what, this is going to be a year where it's going to be a little iffy for Matt Schaub to continue. I think he can still be that starter, but we'll just have to wait and see on how his progression goes going down the line of the season. I think Derek Carr could be more than likely of the starter next season, full time for the Oakland Raiders. But right now Matt Schaub is that likely guy. But also, not only do they have their wide receiver core in question, and who's going to be their starting running back, that's another big question here in Oakland as well. And that's talking about Maurice Jones-Drew, Darren McFadden. So it's a very, very crowded running back core in Oakland. So let me hear your guys' opinion about quarterback Matt Schaub going into the 2014 season. I expect a little bit of a lopsided year. I think he's going to continue he's going to be in a down point of his career. His 2012 numbers were very great, but 2013 really bit him in the ass, and it's really, taking a big step back. So hopefully that Matt Schaub can get back onto a winning note and, start, taking a lot of these much younger Oakland Raiders wide receivers and taking them under his wing and getting them the ball, because I think this guy can really have a complete turnaround with Oakland, but it's just going to take a matter of time. And it's going to be a big project system right now. Matt Schaub is a great veteran. He's going to be teaching these much younger guys, Matt McGloin, Derek Carr. So, that's a great veteran to have on your roster. So let's just see if Matt Schaub can really, hold his piece and try to, have a turnaround this year and really lead this team to a playoff berth and be a very surprising team in the 2014 year. I'm Justin Godsey for the Justin Godsey Podcast, and I'll catch you guys in my next NFL video.